The Toronto Blue Jays crushed the Tampa Bay Rays 20-1 in a much-needed win that saw many crazy things happen. We had Jose Berrios dominate, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit a grand slam off a position player, and much more. So we're going to break that down and much more coming up next. What's up, Jays fans? Nick Goss here, host of Jays Digest. And before we do get into this crazy game recap, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're around 25 subs away from 7,000. So if you could hit that subscribe button, help us towards that milestone, it would mean the world to me and Peter. And Peter will be back for tomorrow's video. But we had to get this one out ASAP. What a game for the Toronto Blue Jays. And coming into this game, we were talking about how we needed a win earlier today's video and how Jose Berrios, he needed to have a great start, and he did that. The offense needed to wake up after, just continually not, producing with runners in scoring position. They completely changed that. They're doing it now, and what a game. So let's just get into it. See here, the Jays win 20-1. And that was the best way I could put it. They absolutely dominated this entire game from start to finish. It started in the first inning when we scored one run. And they continued throughout the whole game to the point where they had to put a position player in the game. But let's not get it, twisted here. And we will be discussing the position player, how the Jays, extended their lead up to 20 against him. The game was never in doubt, really past the fourth inning, as Jamie Campbell mentioned on Blue Jays Central after the game. We were crushing him the whole time. And Taj Bradley had a rookie pitcher. He had a pretty rough start, let up 4 runs, but the Jays offense was phenomenal. Let's get into the Jays offense. George Springer went 4 for 5. Nathan Lucas went 1 for 1. He pinch hit. Bo Bichette 3 for 5. Shout out to Ernie Clement, who we made a video on earlier today, dominating right now in AAA before getting called up today. Got a nice a nice single. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who we'll touch on later, unbelievable. Brendan Bell continues to produce, and you can go on and on. Matt Chapman, Whit Merrifield, Dalton Varsho, Danny Jansen, Kevin Kiermaier. Everyone on the offensive end dominated today, and it was something that was so good to see, so well needed, and wow, what an important game for the Toronto Blue Jays to go out and win in the Trop. They put up 20 runs at the Trop for the first time since, I don't know the date, so very long time ago, 20 plus years. I think it was 20 plus years, something to do with Buck Martinez, and I don't know, it was a unbelievable game to watch, and start to finish, like I said, coming into this game, the Jays needed a win. We were, we're scuffling, we're losing, 7 of our last 8, and we needed to come in and shut the Tampa Bay Rays down, especially after yesterday's loss. And, going into the 9th inning in yesterday's game, we had some momentum. We almost came back, ended up being a 6-4 ball game. Bo Bichette grounded out to lose the game, but that kind of provided some momentum into today's game in the first inning when we absolutely, jumped on Taj Bradley early and got the 1 run there, which, you wanted more than 1 run, but, you'll take 1 run sometimes to start a game. The Jays haven't been leading very much at all in the past couple weeks, so it was lovely to see. But overall, again, huge shout out to everyone. Let's quickly touch on George Springer, who went 4 for 5. And the key thing here, if you didn't watch the game, he was a double away from the cycle. So he started off the game 4 for 4 with a single, a home run, a triple, and then he came into his 5th at bat, swung on the first pitch, and flew out. If he would have gotten a double, he would have gotten the cycle. And John Schneider ended up taking him out in the 8th inning, the bottom of the 8th inning, for Nathan Lucas in the defensive end, knowing there was a position player already in the game. So I would have liked to give George Springer maybe a chance to hit the cycle, because he probably could have done it pretty easily against Christian Bethancourt, who was pitching. Because, again, all he needed was a double, because he already got the triple, which is kind of the hardest part out of the way. And unfortunately, they took him out. Probably better off for his health and, for the long-term goal of things. But it would have been nice to see George Springer at least get an attempt to go for the cycle, the first player since Kevin Biggio to do that. But unfortunately, he didn't. But huge shout out to him. He's really heating up. And that's something Peter mentioned to me off camera, is that George Springer's heating up. And he absolutely is. And he continued to dominate today's game and kind of take it over a little bit. So huge shout out to him. And let's touch on Jose Berrios now. And he absolutely dominated. It's the second start in a row where he's pitched very, very well. And he's really had a very solid season to start the, so far throughout the season. You can see here, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He was pounding his fastball inside against lefties, which is something he absolutely needs to continue doing, because when he lets his fastball leak over the middle of the plate against the lefties and doesn't attack them inside, he constantly gets hit hard, constantly gets hit for home runs, and he's very prone to the home run ball. But today he limited them, gave up, I think he gave up 1, but regardless, he limited them. And again, 5 hits and 1 earned run. So very, very, great job out of Jose Berrios there. And 7 innings is something that, despite the game being out of reach, it's still nice to get, length out of your starter there. Obviously, he got 5 strikeouts, and his command was fairly decent, only giving up 2 walks. But overall, a very solid game out of Jose Berrios, and one that you will hopefully think he can, continue to build on going forward. However, we'll take it as we can get it, especially right now in the season where we just need to get wins. And looking at the bullpen as well, they brought in Tim Mesa to get some work. It's been a while since he worked, as well as Adam Simber, who was activated off the 15-day injured list today. Was scuffling a little bit with his command, gave up a hit and a walk, but ultimately got out of it unscathed. And at the end of the day, they were up 20-1, so it wasn't really a huge deal anyway. He could have given up 10 runs and it wouldn't have mattered. The most important thing was getting him some reps in, and that's why we also saw players like Ernie Clement and Nathan Lucas get some reps as well, just to get him in the game, because at that point you're up by so much that it doesn't really matter. So overall, a phenomenal game into the pitching staff, and hopefully we can continue to build off of this, especially for the pitching staff who has not been getting many runs or run support at all. Kevin Gosman and players like that did not get any run support in yesterday's game until the 9th inning. So hopefully we continue to build on that and help out the pitching staff, because the offense is hitting like this. Obviously, you're not going to put up 20 runs, but I don't know. We needed to continue to happen. It's so much more fun watching Blue Jays baseball when it's like this. But let's get into the second last topic here, which is the Vladdy Grand Slam, and I have the clip for you. I'm gonna play it. No commentary for this one, but I'll play it for you guys in case you missed it. Now, it was off of a 52 mile per hour, I guess, fastball eephus type pitch against Luke Raleigh, who actually struck him out in the prior inning. On the same pitch. Vladdy was super early on it, and Matt Devlin and Buck Martinez were talking about it, and how Vladdy wants, to get in on the fun, and then he absolutely annihilates the ball. So shout out to Matt Devlin and Buck Martinez for talking about that right before it happened. An absolute moonshot to put it to 15-0, and we kept scoring, scored 5 more runs in the top of the 9th. Everyone was absolutely dominating. It was clicking, and it was fun to watch. And I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Vladdy, who had 6 RBIs. Granted, 4 of them were against a position player. At the end of the day, you won't really be able to tell at the end of the season which on the batting stats and the slugging percentage and things like that. But you're just playing against who you can go up against. And with the new rule now, you can only use position players. I think it's 8 runs or 9 runs or whatever it is. But regardless, Kevin Cash put the position players in and rotated through a couple of them, actually, which is pretty funny to see. But overall, a phenomenal game, one of the most fun Blue Jays games to watch of the year, and hopefully they can continue going with that going forward and carry some of that momentum again into tomorrow's game. And I guess that segues into our final segment here, which is a look ahead of tomorrow's matchup. And it's going to be an interesting one. Yusei Kikuchi against Shane McClanahan. Now, it's on paper, it's not the best matchup for the Blue Jays. Shane McClanahan is undefeated on the season with a 2.05 ERA, I believe, and he's a dominant left-handed pitcher who throws gas. But so is Yusei Kikuchi so far throughout the year, so hopefully he's going to be able to step in and provide a competitive start, because let's use the momentum from today's game, go into it tomorrow. And that was one thing that was kind of lost in tonight's game is, once the position players came in, Buck Martinez mentioned how the players and our hitters are going to start getting the timing down for some of our hits, get confidence. It doesn't matter who it was off of. A lot of the hitters gained well-needed confidence. And also shout out to Dalton Varsho, had a pretty nice game against the Rays today, against both the pitchers and the hitters who ended up pitching. But that'll wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 7,000. This was a phenomenal game, and hopefully we can have more fun Blue Jays games like this going forward, and we can snap out of that slump. We'll see you tomorrow.